Greetings everyone, here's another delightful video from me to you through the power of the internet via the YouTube video sharing platform. And this is a fun little game from a beginner box, in fact, from Free League Publishing, Symboroum, Starter Set, Treasure Hunt of Davokar. My personal opinion of Free League Publishing is that it's essentially the new TSR. And looking at the history of original TSR, the only real difference between Free League Publishing and original TSR is that original TSR had Dungeons and Dragons, which was constant through its entire life. Free League Publishing still kind of flips around between different other role-playing games. And Free League Publishing doesn't sue people constantly for making third-party products for their systems. So, other than that, they're almost like identical for the most part. Free League Publishing pretty much produces all of its games with a starter set or a beginner box of some sort. And they put a lot of effort into making quality products, as you can see here. What is included in this box is a 64-page rulebook introducing the game's easy-to-learn, highly flexible rule set along with its dark and mysterious game world. A 64-page adventure compendium including 2 adventures locations for your players to explore and rules for designing adventures for your own. The Symboroum Bright Darkar Davokar dice set with all the dice you need for combat, problem solving, and social challenges. Double-sided map with one side depicting the game setting at large and the other side a treasure hunt's town of Thistlehold. A second double-sided map, main locations of the 2 pre-made adventures, landscapes meant to be used in the game table. 6 character sheets describing 5 ready-made player characters and 1 mythical companion for you to play. I removed the plastic because I've ripped the plastic off of it once before, and the plastic keeps coming off. The lid is not treated, so if you use it as a dice tray, you have to worry about people denting it horribly with dice or with metal dice, or brain for 5 seconds, or accidentally spilling some drinks on it. It comes with a set of dice with the standard. It comes with a D4, a D6, a D8, a D10, and a D12 and a D20. There's no D10s in there. 2 tasty silica packets. Yum yum, internet people. I should be careful about saying that at some Gen Zer is going to start a let's eat some silica packets challenge kind of shit. A little game catalog, something very much in line with something that original TSR would release. They would have at least a small little booklet that showed off their other TTRPGs that only got a few other TTRPGs from TSR, or that only got a few adventures for, and then an expansion, and was shoved into the hole in the ground. There's Symborum. There's also a 5th edition version of Symborum. This system, as far as I can tell, there's Twilight 2000. I think they sold that off to some other company. I think Cubicle 7. And then Vesson, which I have yet to cover yet. Mutant Year Zero. That actually is something I keep getting people occasionally suggesting, hey, would you cover Mutant Year Zero? And I'm not too familiar with the Year Zero engine. However, I am actually kind of interested in it because apparently it's fairly popular and interesting TTRPG. Okay, here we go. We got the character sheets right here. There is no sheet that says, hey, this is what's in this box and welcome to it, and it quickly explains into the whole thing, so it's just on the back of the box. This is a standard character sheet. You have accurate, cunning, discreet, persuasive, quick, resolve, strong, and vigilant. And standard, those are the ability scores. You got your basic information for your character up here. You have your various characteristics or abilities right in here. It says abilities and powers. So I'm getting that this is starting to feel like a sort of like Dungeons and Dragons 4th edition kind of vibe, but not in the overly complicated side of it. And then you have your weaponry down there. And then on your backside is your other little characteristics and your equipment. And so forth. Defense and defense, leather and chainmail. And then all those character sheets have like pre-made stuff on them, but they don't have a real character name or anything. You can name the character, the player space is empty, and your shadows information is empty, as well as your experience upkeep, upspent, unspent, and quote. So that's rather interesting. And then we have this nice double-sided map of the region of the world, as well as the major city in that part of the world. So that's kind of cool with a key right here. You can see that's actually kind of handy dandy. I like that. By the way, this is the original game system Symborum, not the 5th edition Symboroum. I actually will probably cover that more in the future. And this is a little the little area map for the adventure, as well as the map of the tower for the adventure. So cool. Now we have 2 books here. There are both goo-bound. They're goo-bound squarebacks. So the only negative to this type of book, these books are nice as they, when you, if you look deep down inside there, you see those little white things? That's a little bit of stitching that actually ties the pages. So all these pages are tied together into little bundles, if you can see that. Zoom. So it's stitched together and set into glue. The only problem with this type of book is that kind of goo backed has a tendency after 30, 40 years of drying out and then falling apart. Now, as you can see here, this is the starter rules book. You have a very nice table of contents. Just very basic, to the point. Takes you to the direct sections. You have some nice artwork in here overall, as you can see. It kind of has that Warhammer vibe to it. It shows you the dice you comes with the set here and what you need. A little overview of the themes of the game system and so forth. It's supposed to be a darker TTRPG, a bit more gritty. A section on the setting, and then there's this is the area on the player characters. Initiate scene and develop your character and so forth. You have a section explaining your attributes, such as accurate, cunning, discreet, persuasive, quick, resolute, strong, and vigilant. And then you have a secondary attribute section, and that talks about each class occupation. such as Occupation Knight or Occupation Witch Hunter, Occupation Mystic, and Wizard. And then you have a Rogue. And then you have a quick section over basically information on Iron Fist and Bodyguard and stuff like that. Back up here. Alchemy, Beast Lore. Oh, section on abilities. So this section right here is all on the abilities, which are basically like skills for your character. There is, the artwork is quite nice. However, occasionally you'll have long sections where there is no artwork at all. You have various options for various races and traits, such as human, Abram, goblin, ogre. And I think that's the three major ones right there. And then you have tradition and powers, which covers over traditions and various magical powers and mythical rites, rituals for your characters. The combat rules. There is not really any charts or anything. It basically is just listing out all the different actions and abilities your characters can perform. And then you have a section on equipment, which starts with currency. When it comes to items, everything in every TTRPG pretty much starts from currency, the ability to buy said things. The next section is weaponry. It talks about heavy weaponry, long weapons, and projectile weapons, and shields, and short weapons, and single-handed weapons, and so forth. There's a little simple chart here. Some examples of the weapons in this system. And then it goes over armor, which has a little armor table right there. I personally feel that TTRPGs are vastly better off having charts and diagrams for people to look at, because sometimes when you have something that's in pure text walls, people with dyslexia have a harder time reading through it. However, if you have tiny little equipment lists or charts with all the important with the basic information lined up in like this, it's a lot easier for people to quickly read that through. You got mystical artifacts, pre-made character section. Ooh, a pre-made character section. So you have a little bit of information on pre-made characters here. Character sheets. And that's it. And then we have the adventures. Setting and adventures. And this first section of the book is introduction. Then you have Thistlehold, expeditions in Davokar, monsters and adversaries, which is your basic bestiary, where the darkness dwells, and gathering storm. And yet again, you have some really nice artwork there. You got a nice little introduction. Thistlehold, which covers the basic starting town area in which your characters start out in this adventure, which includes the map yet again, and a key for all the important locations. Another scene. Then you have expeditions to Davokar, which I'm going to skip because that's an actual adventure. And then you have monsters and adversaries section, which starts out like that. Where you have basic stat blocks for several of the creatures for the adventure. So you can immediately start utilizing this. So there you go. That's an example of a stat block right there for this system, which is nice. And then the little information for the creatures above it. as well as, yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's basically just this little section right here for one creature, and then this one for this other one right here, and the Abor is this section right here. Actually, this section as well too. So the Abor is here. You got some more stat blocks. It looks like you have a fairly decent variety here. A little explanation on monster traits. So that's kind of neat. Section on Where the Darkness Dwells, which is another adventure, which I'm not going to show. And then there's another small adventure in the back. The Gathering Storm. Now, I also noticed something else interesting here too. There's also more creatures in the back end of the Gathering Storm for that adventure. So that's kind of neat. And then we have advertisements for more Symboroum stuff, but also the other Free League products as well. And it's pretty neat. The only thing I wish there was in this starter set, oh, you're going to hear me say it again, is that I wish there was a Game Master screen, even just one of those basic Game Master screens, like from, say like from D&D 3.5 or something like that, where it was just simply, if they included something that was just even a simple thin cardstock Game Master screen, that would be handy dandy as heck, because a simple cardstock Game Master screen is better than no Game Master screen, and being as such, oops, put that back. A simple cardstock Game Master screen is handy because you could have all the core rules or the essential items for the Game Master to run the system right on it. So that'd be nice. It would also be nice if there was little handouts that explained the core mechanics of player characters' abilities. When they were to look at their character sheet or write up their abilities or skills for their characters, they can easily understand and remember, hey, I have this many actions or something like that in a turn, and so many uses of ability, and go from there. That would be making this way better. That would take it well above that 3.75 4-star territory. I say this is right around that 3.75. It's not substantially awesome. It's very basic in itself. It has dice, which is standard. It has character sheets. It has an adventure book. It has a map. And it has... the adventure book has multiple adventures in it, and you have starter rules. So that's all good stuff. You get multiple little adventures and enough instructions to make your own adventures with it. So it is like a 3.7... Yeah, it's 3.75 stars. It has all the essentials there. What is there is really nicely done. However, it's not quite 4 stars. It might be 4 stars if it had a Game Master screen in it. If they added a few more things like tokens or something else like that, that would bring it up a little bit further and make it much better product overall. I do think that this is actually a fairly cheap priced item on Amazon or in most gaming stores. It's not terribly expensive, and it's not terribly heavy. There's still some good weight because the books are actually made of really good quality paper. It's just goo bound with basic strings attached in there, so in little packets. So there you go. It looks to be a pretty good overall starter set. Could be improved by several adding of features and maybe upgrading some of the items in there. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you have a delightful day, a nice night, a wonderful weekend, a magnificent month, and see you next time. Ciao.